Hello, kind and intelligent people. All over the world, since ancient times, gold has been valued and has stood at the center of important events. Today we will explore a legend that lies somewhere between myth and reality. The gold of Valchan Voyvoda, a legend of immeasurable riches that to this day captivates the minds of treasure hunters and dreamers of sudden wealth. A fearless hajduk, unwavering in his decisions, Valchan Voyvoda led a band in the regions of Strandzha and the Balkan Mountains. Legends whisper that Valchan Voyvoda and his band gathered enormous wealth with which they hoped to free Bulgaria from Ottoman rule. For more than 2 centuries, the legend of a vast treasure buried somewhere in the Strandzha Mountains has been circulating. No one knows where it is hidden, but many believe it exists. The mystery gives no peace to either historians or treasure hunters from all corners of Bulgaria. The great hajduk, who roamed Strandzha, possessed heaps of gold. So the folk legend says. He buried his treasures in a secret place in the mountains and left for his descendants a map indicating the vault. Valchan accumulated his wealth through raids on Ottoman and Bulgarian wealthy landowners. He himself was an avid treasure seeker. The legend also tells that he discovered in one of the caves of Strandzha a huge ancient treasure left from the time of the Thracians. With it, his wealth became so vast that the voivode wished to pay the Russians to send troops to Bulgaria to fight against the Ottomans. Nearly 100 years before the liberation, the hajduk sent his men to the Russian emperor. The envoys told the ruler that Voyvoda Valchan had prepared tons of gold to pay for Bulgaria's freedom. He instructed them to say that the treasure would reach Russia immediately after the war, loaded onto train compositions. To this day, the elderly in Strandzha pass down by word of mouth the incredible legends about Valchan's deeds. I know from my father, and he from his father, that Valchan Voyvoda sent word to the Russian Tsar. He said he was ready to pay all the costs of the war, the soldiers' salaries, the pensions of widows and children, and the soldiers' ammunition. Unfortunately, the Russian Tsar did not undertake to start a war, or he did not believe that a single hajduk could possess such wealth. This is told by 89-year-old grandfather Hristo from the Strandzha village of Stoilovo. According to legend, Valchan sent many young men to study abroad and paid for their education so that there would be educated people after the liberation. Many places and regions are associated with his name. He died in Brela, where he went to live with his closest companion and associate, Pop Martin. His name is known not only in Strandzha, but also in Sakar, central and eastern Stara Planina. His band even roamed northern Bulgaria. He lived at the end of the 18th and the beginning of the 19th century, a time of weakened central authority and chaos in the European part of the Ottoman Empire. During these turbulent years, not only hajduk bands formed by oppressed Bulgarians roamed, but also brigand groups and Kurdjali hordes that devastated everything in their path. The birthplace of the hajduk remains unknown to this day. Historians argue over 3 different settlements in the region of Malko Tarnovo. The prevailing version is that he was born in the village of Delievo, 5 kilometers from Malko Tarnovo, which no longer exists today. The earliest historical sources connect his youth with the villages of Tagarevo, today Valchanovo, and Fakia. From there comes his paternal lineage, the Bimbalov family, descendants of the fierce Momchil Voyvoda, who died in 1345 in battle with Ottoman troops. From the same lineage also comes the famous Stefan Karadja. Their distant relative Valchan inherited their fiery and rebellious nature. He gathered his band when he was only 18 years old. A passionate but unhappy love drove him to take up arms and oppose the Ottoman oppressors. Before becoming a hajduk, Valchan was a shepherd, peacefully grazing his father's sheep near his native village. At that time, he fell in love with the beautiful Rada, the most admired maiden in the village. He decided to ask for her hand from her father. But when word spread of the future engagement, the local Ottoman official reacted furiously. The Turkish authority had long set his eyes on the girl and quickly dealt with his rival. He sent guards to seize Valchan and ordered him to be brutally beaten. He threatened him that if he ever looked at Rada again, he would kill him. Then he abducted the girl and took her as his wife. This love tragedy turned the peaceful shepherd's life upside down. Valchan abandoned shepherding, determined to oppose the tyrant. He gathered several young men, armed themselves, and took to the forests. Their first task was to kill the man who had taken his beloved. One night, heavily armed, the young hajduks attacked and killed him in his home. They then took Rada with them. Shortly after, however, a Turkish pursuit followed their trail. A battle broke out, and the beautiful maiden was fatally shot. After her tragic death, Valchan was consumed by rage. He decided to take revenge for the dishonor and the loss of his beloved. He gathered an even larger band and launched punitive actions against Ottoman officials throughout Strandzha. He took the head of every oppressor who dared commit atrocities in the mountains. However, the main occupation of the band was robbing the VE's treasuries. Legend says Valchan had an invaluable ally, a Turk named Kara Emin Aga, who rose to the position of secretary to the Sultan. He acted as his informant in the enemy camp, providing information about treasury movements and caravan routes. Once he received the information, Valchan would ambush mountain passes with his companions. With each strike, the hajduks seized saddlebags full of gold. Most of the loot they hid in secret caves, keeping only enough to survive the harsh winters, which they often spent in Constantinople in complete secrecy. According to one legend, the Sultan became so desperate from the raids that he ordered new coins to be minted. When several of these coins were found in Kara Eminaka's possession, he fell out of favor, and his conspiracy with Valchan was revealed. To save himself, he fled Constantinople at night, but along the way, he abducted a Bulgarian girl, an act Valchan could not forgive. The voivode killed him for his crime. Folk tales describe the legendary hajduk as a tall, strong man with long black hair and light dove, like eyes that pierced like arrows. Most legends about his immense wealth place it in one cave or another in Strandzha. As many legends as there are, so many treasure hunters exist. The search has continued for 2 centuries. Yet all stories share one thing. The voivode hid the treasure with the help of laborers who never knew the exact location. They were taken blindfolded, prepared the hiding place, and were then returned the same way. The entire band swore a grim oath to guard the secret until death. Many believe one of the main hideouts is Strandzha, a forested area with a large cave near the village of Karadeniz, now in Turkey. It is believed that a bishop's crown and a golden cross are buried there, taken from a Greek bishop suspected of betrayal. Yet no one has found them. Even Valchan's descendants, now living in Romania, searched the mountains with the supposed map, but to no avail. The treasure of Valchan Voyvoda is still sought in many places, Strandzha, Stara Plana, and beyond. One legend claims part of it lies in a sea cave accessible only through narrow flooded tunnels. Another says parts were discovered around 1970 near the mouth of the Ropotamo River. Locals tell that a special team arrived in Primorsko, searched with metal detectors, and later disappeared mysteriously after digging at a specific site. Valchan Voyvoda remains one of the most mythologized figures from the time of Ottoman rule. Few historical facts and many legends surround him with the aura of a true Bulgarian patriot, whose mission was not only to see his homeland free, but also to prepare his people to achieve and use that freedom wisely. He devoted his life to gathering wealth, to educate Bulgarian youth abroad, and to finance a future liberation. One legend tells how on St. George's Day, Valchan gathered all hajduk leaders, sat on a stone throne, and made them vow to contribute annually toward Bulgaria's freedom. He even funded the construction of a bridge over the Rozovska River. According to legends, his wealth included treasures from Roman and Thracian times. This is evident from the story of his mission to Tsar Nicholas I of Russia, offering an alliance against the Ottoman Empire. He would cover all war expenses. But where exactly did he hide his riches, and what happened to them after his death? Here, legends intertwine with ancient tales of hidden treasures in the countless inaccessible caves of Strandzha. Historically, this region was crossed by caravan routes carrying goods and wealth, making them easy targets for brigands and hajduk bands. Like his predecessors, Valchan used these underground passages to hide his fortune. This is described in writings by his closest associate, Pop Martin of Ruse, who detailed secret markers indicating cave locations filled with gold and jewels. Yet despite all these clues, no one has ever found the treasure. Whether the directions were misleading, or whether the Bulgarian people are not yet ready to fulfill the voivode's vision, no one can say. But somewhere, in the embrace of the Strandzha Mountains, lies the source of the legend of Valchan Voyvoda. Across the country, stories persist of caves filled with gold gathered by him. But to this day, there is no confirmed discovery